Today, I want to talk to you about this concept of insulin resistance. So, I'm not sure if many of you know about insulin resistance, and why I'm talking about it is that it's had a dramatic impact on my life. So, what is insulin resistance? So, insulin resistance is basically when your body needs more insulin to do the same job. Okay, it has become a little bit immune to insulin. And a good example is having antibiotic resistance. So when we have antibiotic resistance, the antibiotics aren't working as well as they would. And so similarly, when you have insulin resistance, it's the same effect, that the insulin is not working as well in your body as it should. So why this is important is when you have more insulin going through your bloodstream, it causes weight gain. Now, a lot of us don't know about this, and this is the key thing that Dr. Jason Fung talks about. So, he's a nephrologist, and what he says is, whenever I prescribe a patient insulin, why is it that their weight goes up? You know, if anybody's diabetic and they've just been prescribed insulin, more than likely they're going to control their eating. So, why is their weight going up? So that's the whole concept of insulin resistance, that if your body is needing more insulin, it's going to drive up your weight. So I'm going to explain to you why. So insulin has a few functions. One is it helps your cells absorb glucose, but within the liver it has a very different function. In the liver, it helps your liver convert the glucose into fat. It's called de novo lipogenesis, which is new. Lipo meaning fat, genesis means creation, de novo lipogenesis. And so when you have insulin in your bloodstream, it helps your liver convert the glucose into fat. And so the more insulin you have in your system, the more fat you're going to create. Now, this is really important for you. It's not just for diabetics, it's also for obese patients, because a lot of obese patients have a lot of insulin resistance, and it's one of the factors that leads to the diabetes problem later on. So, insulin resistance is going to help you put on more weight, and if you control your insulin resistance, you will be thinner. So, how do you control your insulin resistance? So like any drug, the more exposure we have to it, we build a resistance. So today with antibiotics, when we have a lot of exposure to antibiotics, we build the resistance to antibiotics. Similarly, when you have a lot of insulin flowing through your body the whole time, you build resistance because your body becomes a little immune to the insulin in your system. If you always have, let's say, so much going through, that becomes the baseline. So all of a sudden, this is the same as having less. So for example, if you had so much going through, that becomes the baseline. This becomes the baseline. This becomes the baseline. If you constantly needing insulin in your body. So I've been trying to examine where we end up needing insulin. As an Indian person living here in North India, why do Indians need so much? Where are we building this insulin resistance? And obesity is a big problem today. Diabetes, pre-diabetes, all are a huge problem. So insulin resistance is extremely important. I feel the fact that we wake up, we eat, then we have chai, and then we have that with sugar. So even when I go to a cafe coffee day, they'll always give me the coffee with the lid open so that I can add my sugar. It seems that we add sugar to all our hot drinks. So when we take the sugar, we are building in this insulin in the body because we have glucose, the body needs insulin. I think throughout the day we are eating foods, and when we eat processed foods, it causes an even bigger spike. So throughout the day we're having some insulin, and then we're having these huge spikes. Thereby, the body gets immune to a certain amount of insulin all the time. And that insulin, while it's floating through your system and going in your liver, is telling your liver, okay, we are in fat storage mode. So insulin tells your liver, boss, it's fat storage time. and the lack of insulin is fat burning time. So insulin resistance is extremely important if you want to burn your fat or stop creating new fat. So in another video, I'll talk about how you can reduce your insulin resistance. But for now, I just wanted to explain this concept of insulin resistance. And if you have questions, put it in the comments down below. And I hope you found this video helpful.